Rebeccah, welcome. Thank you for coming on today. My first question is, what do you do?
So I work at a college. We do further education and higher education. My role as skill sector lead in engineering actually falls within the adult team. So I go out and work with local businesses, local communities, and help them sort of build on their skills in engineering. Over the past few years, there's been a huge skills gap in
hmm
engineering. So my job is to bridge that skills gap, go out, figure out what businesses need and the local community as well, and build courses around that. So helping upskill people who, it could be people who are already in engineering, but they want to take that next step in their career. It could be people who are adults but have never done any engineering that want to get into engineering. We can just create courses that help them take that next step in either their education or their career.
It does sound pretty cool, to be fair. I'm in engineering the sector, so I know there is a massive shortage
Yeah.
for it just hasn't really been realised in the last 10, 15 years, I think. We've just kind of fallen short. And now a lot of people are retiring now, so we need to get a lot of people in and everyone always needs engineers. So what type of sectors in engineering? Obviously, we know it's so big. You've got automotive, you've got construction, you've got multiple different sites. Do you do everything or do you do all different bits?
Yeah, so we are quite large in the scope that we cover. My specialty is manufacturing, automotive, and that's my background. But yeah, we do anything. The main ones that we have focused on really are more lower level courses. We're trying to branch out more and do some higher level courses now. Yeah, all over. We also have a sector skills lead for construction. So he covers the
Cool.
construction side of things. So I mainly at the moment are focusing on more engineering manufacturing.
There is a massive shortage in the automotive industry. I know we've worked on.
Environment, like you said, isn't it? I mean, when I first started my career in engineering, everybody that I had spoke to had been at this one company from an apprentice at 16, and
hmm
then sort of into their 60s, getting ready to retire in the next 5 to 10
Yeah,
years.
and they kind of stay in that, but there's no. I think if you go into a lot of engineering companies, if you go into their manufacturing where they make it, there's not a lot of younger people. I
Yeah.
don't see anymore. It's a lot of knowledge there that we're missing out on because when people retire, they're not going to be able to be properly trained by anyone because there's been that massive gap where I believe we haven't nationwide, we haven't focused on bringing new people in. So do you work with people from 16 trying to get them into starting off as engineering and then going that way?
So no, where I work at the moment, I work with
hmm
19 and above.
Oh, okay, cool.
At the department in the college who do engineering courses for 16 to 18-year-olds as well.
hmm
So, there's that sort of side of it, trying to inspire the young generation to get into engineering.
Mm.
Yeah, I work with 19 and older at the moment in my
So it's
department.
never too late, basically. Even if
No,
you've left school, we
oh,
can always come in.
and this is it. So we have people who want to change careers. We work with the local job centre a lot. So putting on those initial introductory courses to
hmm
engineering, we're in a really, really fortunate position where we're getting funding to do completely bespoke stuff. So if somebody wants to do, health and safety or just part of engineering that they feel that they're missing out on, it could be it could be CAD. They want to just skill in CAD. We're able to put that stuff on, so we can work really closely with companies that allow us to do that. And
Mm.
really get to know what's the gap in their in
And
their world.
what's needed and growing from that. When did you first take an interest in engineering? Because I've seen before you went into engineering for your first job, is that correct?
Yeah, so I did sort of from school went into A levels and just did maths, English and science at A
The
level.
fun basic stuff then.
Yeah. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Was always relatively academic. So
Mm.
it just carried on with sort of academia through A levels, but actually hated it, didn't enjoy it at all. And to be honest, answer, I really don't know exactly when I knew I wanted to go into engineering because there was never any education around what engineering was.
Yeah.
I've always excelled in maths and always had a real, real passion and interest in maths. And I've always been very logical in the way that I think and the way that I do things, how I process things. I'm just quite logical. So after having conversations with like family members and maybe the careers team at college, I sort of decided to go down. And to be honest, it was more family members that steered me down the engineering route. It was never an option. So I don't think there was ever sort of one, like, oh my God, I know I'm going to be an engineer. I think my interests just led me down that path through conversations.
And then went that way.
Yeah, I went that way.
Do you know what? I think it's really difficult when I met people before and they were like, I wanted to be an engineer since I was 15. And I was like, I didn't even know what I wanted to do when I was like, to be honest, I love my job, but at the same time, I still don't know what I'm going to be doing in 20 years. I
And
could be
this is
doing
it,
something
isn't it?
else.
And I'm the same. Like, I'm really passionate about what I do, but I don't know if I'll be doing it forever.
And this is the thing, I think just in schools and colleges, the younger generation thinks they need to know what they want to do before they leave school by the 16. They need to just finish and then they should be having a career path, and that's the career path. And I think that's the stigma that a lot of people are trying to get away from, that you can explore multiple different avenues instead of just sticking to one thing, I think, because it is difficult. Do you see a lot of women, younger women, coming into engineering now, or you still don't see it?
Still don't see it. And do you know what? I have had these conversations quite regularly because I have to go to events as part of my job. So as much as I'm creating courses and reaching out to businesses, a lot of my job is networking as well. So, you know, you think of like the advanced manufacturing event that they had at the NEC not too long ago, and they've had a couple like at the NEC. I went to one at Rolls-Royce,
Oh,
and
very cool.
it's so interesting. But you sit in a room of middle-aged white men. There's, you know, there's no diversity in engineering as a whole. Like, you know, for women, yes, there's no women, but there's no diversity in culture or religion
Yeah.
or anything. Age, it typically is between probably about 35 and 55 white men. And they have conversations about wanting to diversify their environment and things like that, but they've got middle-aged white men going into schools to try and do it. And
It's that gap.
you're not going to get what you want. You know, you're not going to get that outcome if you're not sending the right people.
I think it's guiding them as well. I think for such a long time, this is how we've done, and we're under 17%, I believe, in women in engineering. It's very low, and I know I spoke to a lot of engineers. This is what I do. So I work in the construction side of engineering, and when I speak to an women engineer, I get really excited because I'm like, you're actually really cool. I really like it. It is cool to see a younger woman coming in, but I think they are still scared to come in the industry because it is a very male dominated industry, which until people want to keep on doing it and colleges like you that are pushing this type of thing move forward, then we're not going to get anywhere. I think there is a move. You do a lot of women in engineering as well, don't you, in Solihull College? Yeah.
Yeah, as a college, we are trying to, but it's just getting there. I mean, I think it's around education as well. Like, in my opinion, people still don't understand what engineering is. And you speak to people about engineering and they think that you fix cars and it's really dirty. And I say, you have conversations. Do you like art? Do you like designing things? That's engineering. It's not all about, if you're a maintenance engineer, for example, yeah, you're going to be getting dirty and you're going to be hands-on. But you could be in an office creating projects, project managing people, project managing big, huge projects, designing things. And I don't think there's a lot of education and people knowing the different ways in which engineering can take you. And I think that's where we need to start trying to inspire the younger generation, is really educating around what engineering is.
So my question is, now you've said it yourself. So what would you say engineering is? I know it's such a hard question to answer, but if you were speaking to a young adult and said, what is engineering? How would you describe it in your side?
I think, and I know it's really cliche and a bit cringe, but I feel like engineering is literally anything you want it to be. It is so broad that, if you enjoy a certain aspect of something, as I said, if you enjoy drawing and designing, then you can go down a CAD route and you can design products, or you can design, anything that they're creating. But for me, engineering is seeing a project through. It's an overall seeing something go from being nothing to an end product. I mean, I've worked in manufacturing, so that's my experience of it. And I worked manufacturing and assembly. So we were seeing things that were going from literal drawings to one product to then going through an assembly line, making a full product. So as an overall, that's what it is for me. It's being able to be part of a huge project, watching something go from nothing but a piece of paper to something real life in front of you.
Because you even look at Lego, that is a type of
Yeah,
engineering. I know I've spoken to a lot of people and they were like, I really like Lego when I was younger. And I was like,
yeah,
before they actually get built into like a car, they are mocked up on a smaller version. You can kind of fall into anything. Like you said, it's all CAD designs, you've got
yeah,
design engineers. If you want to do maintenance side, you can just keep on refurbishing the same thing if you like kind of the repetitive stuff. Or if you like to imagine things and you can be involved in the project management and things. I think there's so many different avenues, but we're not talking about them and how many there actually are. And I think it is scary, let's be honest.
this is it. And I think this is where we're all going wrong with it. We need to be going out to schools and giving a broader example of what engineering can be and is,
Mm,
rather than this. I always use this example, and it's ridiculous, but like when I mean, I work in education now, so it's not so much, but
hmm
when you were young and single and out every weekend, at that time I was an engineer, I did my apprenticeship, my degree, etc. And you'd be chatting to people and be like, what you doing? Be like, oh, I'm an engineer. They're like, oh, can you fix my car? And I'm like, I'm not a mechanic. And that,
Don't do that.
yeah, don't give me your car to fix because I'll probably make it worse.
It's going to be broken.
Yeah. But it's not a dirty job. It doesn't have to be a dirty job. I worked in an office. It can be a dirty job if you want it to be, but it doesn't have to be. And there's that stigma around it. And I think it puts people off wanting to do the role.
I agree with that because when I was younger, I went into teaching and then I've come into kind of recruitment and I specialise in fire and security and mechanical and electrical. But when I was younger, I always used to see, you used to see women in suits and things like that and the really nice outfits going to work. I was like, I really want to do that. And then I've actually fallen into it and I'm like, and I'm still part of engineering. I'm just another sector of it. It's, it's not just one thing fits all. You
No,
can go down different sectors. And I think also with a lot of what you guys offer, they can get the basis of that and then kind of find their way where they want to go. Is that how it works for you guys?
yeah, it can do. That's where we go with people. If they're not sure what they want to do, we can sort of create smaller courses that give them opportunity to figure out where their interests lie. We can build up and build up and build up. We're in a really unique position that we could take people from doing a 2-week introductionary course to a 3-year higher national degree course or things like that.
There's a lot of options out there that you can offer.
And
Right,
this
okay,
is
cool.
it, yeah. If you're not quite sure what you want to do, it's always worth reaching out to institutes that offer things like this and having
Mm.
those conversations, because a lot of the time you only see level 1 engineering, level 3 engineering, and it's not always the case. There's so much more that you can do to try and find that interest.
And I know you mentioned you go to career fairs and things like that. Would you suggest that's probably quite good for people to go to if they're kind of a little bit lost and they don't know what to do and speak to different avenues? Is that probably the best bet? Do you get a lot of attraction there and things like that?
Yeah, definitely. Colleges like ourselves put on careers fairs. We had one not long ago, and we had British Airways, Jaguar Land Rover. There was loads of massive, massive companies. That event was for our students, but there are events that we put on as a college and other
Mm.
colleges put on also that are careers fairs to allow people to come in and have those open conversations with careers advisors or companies and scope it out really.
I remember going to one when I was like 16, I think it was, and I loved it. It was at Legoland Windsor. I loved it. I did find it interesting to get into buy, but you got loads of free stuff as well. Just
You
anyone
walk away
listening,
from
they
it
do give loads of free
at
stuff
least
out.
then, but you usually
Yeah.
come away with a goodie bag full of stuff.
You get a little notebook. They normally do like the
Exactly.
prizes things as well.
Yeah.
You get to do things. It is cool, and I think you can even like obviously you've got the automotive, you've got the aerospace. That is a massive thing that we're trying to bring back into the UK. I've got airplanes going across me all the time because I'm based in Heathrow, so I see engineers in that sector. So when you started, you went into engineering. What made you want to be a skill set to lead? What was that
So
pathway?
I started as an apprentice at an
Mhm.
automotive company, and to be fair, I really enjoyed it. Did my degree with them as well, and then I moved. jobs away from automotive, stayed in engineering. But, and in complete honesty, I just really fell out of love. I moved to a company that I just didn't enjoy being there, wasn't what I wanted. And I was really young still. I think, I was probably maybe 21. You never know what you wanted to do. And from there, because again, my other passion was always maths, like always in that STEM sector. So I started tutoring maths on the side and fell in love with educating people. Like really, really enjoyed it. And then went into further education, teaching maths and engineering. And then from there, sort of found my passion that was a bit of a middle ground, inspiring that next generation to get into STEM subjects. And that's what then, last September, I joined Solihull College as the skills sector lead for engineering to try and hopefully reach a bigger audience. Because when you're teaching in further education, you get students through the door and you are inspiring them, but they're 16 to 18-year-olds and they have to be there. And it's a bit trickier. You don't get to go out and network. Whereas with my job role that I do at the moment, I'm getting to go out and network and speak to people who really want to be getting into engineering. So you get to sort of ignite that passion in people and you get a wider audience to do it with.
And you see the excitement, I think. I think it's always nice. I was always scared when I was younger, not knowing what I want to do. I was always like, I could do this, could do that. I kind of followed the crowd a little bit. And then sometimes I think you do just find your way. It's not ever meant to be. And I think, like I've touched upon earlier, a lot of people do think, I need to know this, but actually you don't. You just kind of find your way, get a job. And if you don't work out, then you
can leave, can't you? And I think this is the thing. I think older generations started a job at 16, stuck it through till 60, retired. It's not really great if you find a job that you absolutely adore at 16 and you can stick with it for 50 years. Fantastic. But you don't have to. Like, I've changed career. I was an engineer. I'm now an educator, but still within the engineering sector. Like, I'm still working within that realm, I suppose. But it's okay to move around until you find something that you really love.
And I think that's the thing. And also within engineering, a lot of engineers travel the world. I know so many engineers that literally for their job, they travel the world.
Yeah.
They go to Australia, they go to America, they go to Europe.
They live the best life.
They literally I was talking to someone the other day and he was like, oh yeah, well, I worked in Australia for 3 years and loved it and then moved over to Europe. And I was like, huh, God. Yeah, and it is really cool. There's so many different sectors of engineering that I don't think we ever really touch upon. And that is like you can look at even makeup production. It's a form of engineering because they need to engineer the products to work correctly. So I think that's one thing that I'm really trying to focus on at the moment is it isn't just construction, automotive, aerospace. There's so many different sectors in it, and everything you probably do has had an engineer look at it. Even packaging of a water bottle has an engineer having to make sure it works that way with the drawings.
Everything, food, like there are so many different sectors, and I think this is it. If you get into a good company that is engineering and you don't like the role that you're in, there's no closed doors because you can just move to a different department within that company that's still engineering, but could be different. You've got logistics as well. That there's so many different things, so many moving parts in an engineering company that potentially you could never be bored. You'd always find something that you enjoy. But again, it's having that education. Like, I feel when I was younger and I was in engineering, I did a manufacturing engineering role. And, as much as I enjoyed it, silly, moved for the money to the new company. It was a smaller company. But again, didn't have the education around what engineering was. Even still as an engineer, I just didn't have that education. Because I think looking back now, would I have stayed in engineering? Probably. But I would have moved roles to do something like project management. Sort of what I do now, I'm a project manager. So a skill sector lead is a project manager in education and love it. But would I have known back then, 8, 9, 10 years ago when I was in engineering, that there was that many options, maybe would have stayed in engineering in a different role. But the education not there.
Yeah. And
it just needs.
No, I think also they are starting to invest in people as well. People are starting to see a gap there.
Yeah.
And a lot of my clients I work with as well are investing in the younger generation. And also, I will be honest with everyone, engineering is quite a good salary range. If you do work your way up, I'm not at the start, you're going to probably go on apprenticeship and you're not going to make the most amount of money. But
The moment you're out of that apprenticeship, though, even a starting wage in engineering is good.
yeah,
You're not
yeah,
going to be on poor wage.
you're not, and that's the thing. I think a lot of people do, I know a lot of younger generation as well do look at the money situation. I always did. I wanted to win the lottery. I still do, but 'cause
Same.
not getting anywhere there. But I think it is good money as well. That is a factor in everything. I know so many people look up what's the biggest paying job, and engineering. There's so many different avenues, and it is an industry that will never disappear. It's impossible to disappear. It will always be there. So is there anyone that you look to as a role model in the sector to kind of push you down that path? I know you said obviously family. Is there anyone where you kind of like they really interest me? What type of engineer were they, or was it just kind of you were pushing that path?
No, do you know what? Nobody really does sort of engineering as we know it.
Mm,
It was just vague conversations. So my stepdad is a telecommunications engineer. My dad used to be a mechanic. So it
mm.
was itty bits of conversations with people that sort of led me to realise, oh, actually, there's an interest here. So, unfortunately, I couldn't say I have one role model that's in the industry that sort of inspired me to go down that route.
But multiple people did, I'm
But
guessing,
yeah, just, multiple people having those conversations.
doing that type of thing, going that way. Okay, perfect. We've touched upon it being very male dominated. What advice would you give to a younger woman looking to go into the industry? I know it's a hard question.
Yeah, it's okay. Really try and understand what it is you enjoy and put that into your job. Don't just follow a route. Really figure out what brings you happiness
Mm,
and try and find a job that matches it.
hmm.
But also don't be intimidated because, you have to be honest, you do get a lot of comments and it can be an intimidating environment. But as a woman, we are able to be in that space as well. Like we are just as good, just as able as our male counterparts. You've just got to find something that you're passionate about and that you enjoy doing. So, yeah, one bit of advice would probably be just stick with it and figure out what you enjoy rather than trying to match other people and what they're expecting from you.
Yeah, and I think also be yourself, I'd say.
100%.
The thing is, with slow change, but there is change happening. I hope in years to come we are in the industry a lot more because I think we have a lot to bring as well. We have another way of thinking to bring.
When you've got so many different people from completely diverse backgrounds, it makes for a successful team.
Mm,
You're not going to be successful if you've got everybody there that's sort of from the same upbringing,
yep.
etc. Because you're all going to think roughly the same, and you can't tackle a problem when everyone is thinking the same. You need those different trains of thought, those different opinions, different thought processes to make
Mm.
something successful, and it's missing that.
And their different life experiences. I think
Yeah,
how people have been brought up and things like that. It does alter how you deal with problems and come up with ideas and solutions. And also, someone might have not had that project or not had that problem in their upbringing all their life, and then someone might be like, "Oh, well, we could actually just fix it like that." Like,
exactly.
I think also you look at, especially women, how far we've come. We have got so much more to go, and I think women and the younger generation getting rid of that stigma that you can't be an engineer because you're not a male. I think it is really important to, you want to do it, go do it.
Go do
I
it.
can't,
And
I would
this,
swear
yeah,
on this point, but I can't.
don't let anyone intimidate you either. Don't let anyone think that you can't do it
Mm,
because it can be daunting. I remember being the only female on my apprenticeship. I was literally 17, 18, and you're
mm,
so fearful of making a mistake because you feel like you've got so much more to prove than anybody else because you're the only female. That's not the case.
yep.
You're allowed to make mistakes and learn from your mistakes as much as the next person, which is something I struggled with when I was doing my apprenticeship. Is I was so fearful of making a mistake because it'd be, oh, she's the woman, she's the girl, she just can't do it. That's not
Mm,
how it is, and that isn't how it should be. So just, you know, go in with confidence and know that you are able to be in that space as much as anyone, and hopefully that will start to shine through and inspire more young girls.
So obviously this is pretty this kind of answer itself, but how does your work in engineering make a difference to the world?
So I would like to think that it inspires and
Mm.
it really helps people take that step into engineering. We're really
Mhm.
trying to move forward with, the motion that engineering is for anybody.
Mhm.
And by reaching out to so many different groups, whether it be, big companies, small companies, local communities, charities, and recognizing that we can create courses to help absolutely anybody take those steps into engineering, inspire
Mm.
them that they can be there and that they can do it. So hopefully it's making it, well, it is, we've seen it, it's making
Yeah.
a difference. It's giving people opportunities that they perhaps wouldn't have had before. We're working with a charity at the moment that supports people who may struggle to be in mainstream work
Mhm.
and helping create courses with those as well that will perhaps give them the confidence one day to be able to take that step into an engineering mainstream workspace.
I think that's really cool because I know obviously there's a lot of talk and things about ADHD, autism, and things like that, and the diagnosis and things like that are coming a lot better now. People are getting diagnosed a lot easier than 20 years ago. Let's be honest, but sometimes their way of thinking and how they approach ideas are actually so unique, but so interesting because they see it in such a different way. But it's so much like, oh, how did I not think of that? Because it's so in depth.
And this is it. And we need that. We need so many different ways of thinking within the workspace.
Mm.
And, going back to what I do, we do courses for engineering workspaces around people who are neurodiverse. So it could be
Mm.
management training on how to coach neurodiverse employees and recognize their strengths and recognizing your own strengths. So as much as we're doing engineering courses, we're going out to engineering companies and doing softer skill courses as well that's going to allow people to open up to accept everybody into the
Yeah.
engineering workspace. And I think that leadership need that, you know.
Yeah, because it's never been there. They've never known any different. So if you look at someone and then they've never had all these issues, or not, these people haven't been coming into the industry, they're not going to know how to deal with it. So I think that is really cool that you're looking at it in different avenues. So you're
Yeah,
not just the new people aren't just going to walk in and be like, oh, what's going on?
exactly. So
Um,
trying to open up the doors for anyone that is open to
yeah.
learn. Those, it doesn't have to be education in what we think education is, where you're sitting in a classroom for 6, 7 hours a day. It can be 1 hour quick courses in the workspace, but it's
Mm.
giving people an opportunity to have that education around everything and about people in their workspace and how it should be, how we should be operating with people's different needs and things like that.
I think that is really important because for me when I was growing up, I'm severely dyslexic. Always have been, kind of just like over time I've just been, I am really dyslexic. I'm shocking. The other day I was emailing a client and I called candidates Canadians. It's my new thing. So then I've identified that I was saying Canadians to all my
And
clients. It's great.
autocorrect wouldn't even sort that out for you, would
All
it?
all correct just thought I was talking about Canadians. Yeah, it was great. It was fantastic. But I think I'm not scared of it anymore because I think people just accept it. I do. I think there is a lot more acceptance in the industry, especially in engineering. I think I'd like to stress, obviously, women, but anyone really, anyone younger. Don't be worried if you struggle with something in
No.
any type of form. You see so many different walks of life now, and so many people to have different struggles. And yeah.
And we need to show those struggles more as well. I think for so long they've been such taboo and people haven't been getting
Mm.
getting diagnosed because the topic is taboo to talk about. So it isn't an open conversation. So people are less likely to understand that things that they are experiencing are actually quite common. So the
Mm.
fact that we're opening up these conversations and like you're talking about having dyslexia, people will be talking about having autism, ADHD, you know, whatever neurodiversity is, having the conversations to make it more
Mm.
mainstream and spoke about and common, hopefully again educates people into understanding it and it becomes more accepted in the workspace.
And I think there are a lot larger companies as well are putting certain things in to support if people are not diverse, can't say that word today. I think they are putting things in to really support people
Mhm.
because they have to, because it doesn't mean that you're not any worse off or you're not as good. You're probably fantastic. You just need that little help. And I
Yeah.
think you'd ask for it at school for help. So you can also ask for that in your career if you're looking to go into
100%.
engineering.
Everyone should be given equal opportunities to be able to do their job successfully, whether that means having a little extra support or whatever the avenue is.
So last two questions. So why do you think it's important to have more females in engineering?
I think we touched on it a little bit, didn't we? But I think the
Yeah.
main reason is to build a successful team, any company, engineering specifically, if it's all male dominated with similar backgrounds, you're not going to have that diversity that you need for thinking about challenges and approaching different tasks. Having women in engineering gives that different outlook on
Hmm.
things. But also, I think the main thing is I personally think one of the big reasons for the lack of women in engineering is they don't understand it. And
Yeah.
that's a shame because so many women are missing out on such huge career opportunities that they could be having amazing careers in engineering, but they're not getting those opportunities because they're not spoke about, they're not
Yeah.
given the understanding of what engineering is. So it's huge, isn't it? I think it's really important to try and get more women into engineering to inspire the younger generation to realise that they can do anything that they want to do.
And that's the thing. I've met multiple engineers because obviously I've worked for so many people. I've met multiple engineers and they have kids and they have a life and they have a great life. They have a great lifestyle, but they're still they are breaking that stigma. And I think the younger generation don't need to be scared. Even if you're anything, you could just go and do it if you want to do it. And I think they that stigma is slowly coming away, and this is why this type of stuff is so important. So people can listen to it and go, "Oh, actually, I might just look up and explore it." And even if we change one person, I'd be cool with that. If we help someone along the
Any
way,
small changes?
yeah. And it does take time. Let's say Rome wasn't built in a day, so I don't think we can change engineering in a day either.
No, but hopefully small changes lead to big sort of results, don't they?
Yeah, we'll do it in 10 years' time, Rebecca. We'll touch base and go, "How are you going? You all right?" So, last question. How would you tell the younger generation if they don't know how to explore a career in engineering industry? What would you say kind of like the best things to routes to go down? Obviously, I know we've touched upon it a little bit, but I just kind of want to reiterate it. Now we're coming to an end for them.
I think if you know people that are in the industry,
Mm,
that can always be a good start, but obviously that's not easily accessible for everybody. I think, like we spoke about careers events, I think if you can go to an engineering specific careers event,
mm,
then please, go to as many of them as you can and speak to as many different people as you can. But also go armed with stuff that you enjoy and see if there's anything that they can relate engineering to with that.
mm.
We're so lucky with how good technology is nowadays that even just doing your research and having a look online, again, I know I keep repeating myself, sorry, but I just think it's really
That's all right.
important to build a career based on something you enjoy. So
Yep.
researching around, if you think engineering's for you and you've got 3 hobbies, type in your 3 hobbies and what engineering role suits. Having a look at things like that and building a career base on those things. But
Mm.
experience goes a long way. If you can speak to people that are in the industry, which is what you'll get at these career fairs, that's where you're going to get the most insight and knowledge from. I mean, Google's a great thing, but I would use it as a baseline. For me, it would be networking and reaching out to people that are like you. And also, if if you're a female looking to go into engineering, there are lots of charities and there are a lot of different companies that focus solely on trying to get women into engineering. So if you don't want to go and speak to a male that you might be uncomfortable speaking to and you only want to speak to females, Google for women only engineering. There are lots of, I think there's one called Future Her.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's another one, women in engineering.
yeah,
That's another one.
I know like 3 or 4, but I can't
Yeah.
off the top of
I
my
think if people just want to like type in women in
yeah,
engineering or engineering jobs for women, you
and
will kind of be pushed up. Yeah, reach out. That's one
reach
thing.
out
Don't
to
be scared to reach out to them.
never be scared to reach out. Like companies welcome it. even if it's what you would deem as a silly question, reach out and ask that question, because
Yep.
you know anyone would be happy to help you sort of explore those career options. So yeah, always just reach out and try and speak to as many people as you can that are in the industry.
Oh, great. Thank you for that. Now I think we've covered everything, to be fair, Rebecca. I
Okay.
think we've gone into great details and you've given us a real great insight into kind of starting off with it. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for
Thank
giving us
you.
your time this morning. I appreciate your time and hope you have a lovely day.